I'm coming in loud and clear. Might hear me on the radio. Breaker, breaker, 19. Anybody got their ears on?
Hey guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains of North Carolina. It's hot, man. It's like 9 o'clock at night, but I'll tell you what. It doesn't get too warm up here in the mountains, but it certainly is this week. Anyway, it's time to take a closer look at the old Radio Shack DX394 general coverage receiver. Ooh, I like this thing a lot, man. So I love the DX302, but this thing has just got it beat by a mile. I've been reading the manual. It just does a lot of cool stuff. Ham bands, shortwave bands, terrestrial AM bands. Long, medium, shortwave pretty much is what it covers, all the way up to the CB 10 meter. You know, it just does it all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the camera real close in. I'll show you some of the features and functions, show you how to program channels, that kind of stuff, and we'll scan the skies for, you know, some cool signals, because it is right at sunset. Hopefully activity is picked up. I know you can hear some good stuff during the daytime too on this. AM wise, I don't get great reception during the daytime here. There's just no local stations. But at nighttime, when the skywave comes in, you just pick up all kinds of cool stuff. So let's do it. All right. Well, here we are up close and personal with this thing. And isn't it just a pretty looking receiver? I mean, there's some that, you know, the DX302, which is, you know, probably my favorite of all shortwave radios, just because of its classic look. You know, it's about 3 times the size of this. And it's, you know, it's got that 70s look to it. This one being a much more modern. This looks like something right out of the 2000s. Or at least in the 90s, and this was Radio Shack's last attempt. You know, this was the last great radio they produced or had produced for them. I'm not sure who made this, but let's start over here with I'll just go through all the dials, and then we'll go through some of the performance of it. Before I even turn it on, I do want to point out this light up screen, this LCD screen that's back here. I've noticed that even when it's turned off, it does have a light glow to it, a little greenish glow. You turn the power button on and it gets a whole lot brighter. Maybe a little hard to see because of the way the lighting in here is, but right here it does have a clock. It's 20:57 or just before 9 p.m. here on the East Coast. It has 2 clocks and it's really hard to see probably on camera, but there's a 1 there. Press the clock again or time again and it would move to clock number 2, and that would be if you wanted to set it for Greenwich time, mean time, 0 time. And you can do that because a lot of programs are listed on the web like, hey, we're on shortwave at this frequency at, you know, 5 UTC or whatever. So just so you know, you can switch between the two. I have actually just set it up on Eastern time for both so I don't confuse myself, but it's a pretty cool feature that I never really thought of having on a radio, but it's got it. So over here we have volume, and unlike a lot of radios, this doesn't on off at all. It just is volume up and down, okay? And over here we have some modes here. So standby. Why would radio have standby? And the reason is it's a general coverage communications receiver. The idea being that, and this is true for many older radios, you'd have a receiver and you'd have a transmitter. And of course later on things went to transceivers. But even here at the house, if I'm talking on 10 meter or 11 meter, it's probably not a bad idea to put this thing over to standby if it's turned on, so that I don't overload the circuitry inside of it and just cause damage. So they have that still as part of the features. Beyond that, we have AM, regular terrestrial AM, which a lot of shortwave stations use. And of course, midwave, you know, AM, the broadcast band is using. Then we have lower sideband and upper sideband. Those work very well. And to tune those, you're going to use this knob here, fine tune control. But fine tune also works on the AM band as well. So that's just the real delicate tuning. So this is for kind of coarse, although you can program that to be fine as well. And then you have fine tuning. Then we have CW1 and CW2 if we're listening to, you know, CW communications, so Morse code stuff, which is kind of cool. And I haven't really played with it. I want to hook it up and use a Morse code decoder, like an online program or downloadable program, just to listen to some of the transmissions that are coming across on there, which is kind of a cool thing I used to do back in the 80s. Haven't really done it with the DX302. But I kind of feel like I want to do that with this for some reason, so I'll probably be playing with that. We do have an RF gain over here, which I have found to be quite useful. So in using it, you get a signal. I usually have it turned all the way up. I start hearing voices. Well, I'm going to cut the gain back, and a lot of times the voice becomes more clear, the background static, that noise floor drops down. So I found the RF gain on this to be really useful. The big knob here, well, that's, you know, our main tuning control. And it has the step here, right? And I'll show it when I'm turned on, but you can change it. to how delicate the sweep or how coarse the sweep you want it to be. Do I want to change rapidly through channels, or do I want to change very small increments? Again, you can always use the fine tune, but it does allow you to change that. Over here we have time set. That's to set your clock, obviously. Down here, though, we have a sleep timer, which is really cool to have. If you're going to put this, like, say, on a bedstand and want to listen to, some good radio before falling asleep, and you don't want to have to worry about waking up and turning it off, set the timer. 30 or 60 minutes, you're good to go. That's a sleep timer. The timer here is also to turn its unit on at a certain time to listen to a certain frequency. Although I haven't played with that, I believe you have to be programmed in on the frequency you want when you set that timer. But I haven't actually set. I've set the sleep timer. I already played with that one night. But as far as setting it to wake up, I have not tried it. NB, noise blanker, I have used it with some success and some, I don't know. It does seem to work a little bit, but I wouldn't certainly call it the best noise blanker on the market, that's for sure. There is dimmer, so with the power on, you can turn off the green light. Good for, if you're going to use the sleep timer, you don't want to have the light blaring in your face. And it's not a very bright light, I'll show you here. We have a lock here. You can lock it out so you don't accidentally push buttons and change the channel. And we have a monitor button. That's to leave you on a station. And again, I haven't really played with monitors, so I can't say exactly how it functions on this particular radio, but it should probably be just like everything else. Limits. You can set and program the limit on this. So let's say you don't want to go above, 10 kilohertz or 10,000, I don't know, whatever. Let's say you just want to keep it in the AM band. You can set limits, upper and lower limits. It actually was set that way when I got it. They didn't want to go below 500 and they didn't want to go above 6,000. And so that was interesting, but I got rid of the limits on that. This is the up-down button. You can actually set it to auto-scan to the next most powerful station. What you don't notice here is there's no squelch. So this I have not found to be very useful. There are newer radios that do this much better, but on some of the shortwave bands, you can press and hold this for 2 seconds, and it'll move up to the next strongest signal. On this one, on a lot of the bands, it just doesn't seem to want to go more than just one step up before stopping again. So here we have band selects, right? So we're going to have long wave, mid wave, and short wave. Those are the three ones you're going to do that. I haven't played with meter, and I haven't played, with frequency. I haven't messed with those. We do have the ability to enter in a frequency and go directly to it. And we also these double as a way to go to your programmed stations. So I've already programmed them in some stations, although most of them are daytime stations, so I'm not sure what we'll be able to get off of those. But we'll try. And then you do see there's your program button, and there's your clear button in case you make a mistake. So program, you hold that until it flashes, and then you enter in, say, channel 15. I think it's 60 altogether that it will hold, but there are some weird parts to that. It's like 10 per band or something. It's very strange reading in the manual, but luckily, I've got a few stations that I like to go to, and then that's pretty much it. So 60 seems to be more than enough. I think that covers all of it. You can see there's 120 meter, 90 meter, 75, 60, it goes all the way down, to 11 meter. So you are able to kind of skip to that if you like, although I just like to roll through the dial or program in, where I want to go. So that pretty much covers all of that, the headphone being here. If I turn it around, you can see there is foldable feet, which is kind of a nice feature to hold that up. And then on the back here, we do have attenuator. I currently have it hooked up to a long wire antenna outside the garage. There is a place for a ground, which I would love to have hooked up. It would definitely help with the noise floor inside the garage tonight, because I am using fluorescent lights, and this one's a little more sensitive than some of the radios I have. But I don't have a ground available for it. There is another way to hook your antenna, high Z or low Z. From reading on the internet, I haven't really noticed that big of a difference between them, and neither does anyone else. So you can hook to either one of these depending on which one connector you have. Tape out, we were talking about that with the DX302. Tape out's kind of nice because you can record stuff as you see fit, and you can also hook that up to, somebody gave me this idea, I'd never even thought of it, and I plan on using it. Use the tape out, hook it to a sound card, use a decoder for satellite stuff, for airline stuff, and for Morse code, so that's really cool. External speaker, which is also a cool thing to use with a digital signal processor. I'll get into that in a separate video, but I do have a DSP-40 that I've been meaning to play with one of these things, and that's a great opportunity. Lastly, on the back, we do have this. That is a DC in, so you can use just regular 12-volt battery to run this, which is good for running off grid or solar or for emergencies. So pretty cool. Okay, so we're ready to turn this thing around and we're ready to show off all the stuff. So I'll go ahead and turn it on. Like I said, 9:05 is on clock 1. Turn it on and you can see it gets brighter. It's not overly powerful. It's a nice little greenish blue light. Over here we have a digital version of an analog signal meter, and it's kind of interesting. It's not useless, it's not the greatest, but it definitely does help. Below that you'll see the step in kilohertz. You can change that by pressing the step up, step down. And see, I could change very small amounts or the normal for AM, or basically anywhere in between. I could go by 5s or I can go by 1s. So I like that. That's a cool feature. And that's good for coarser fine tuning pretty much. And again, using the fine tuning, well, then you can go, it's always going to give you that extra fine, which is great for sideband communications. All right. So I'll turn the volume up here. We'll see if we can find an AM station to listen to briefly. And you can see, right, I'll try noise blanker. I just don't hear a ton of difference on AM, but I will say, and I'll turn it up a little bit more. You can mess with RF gain. I found on sideband it does help quite a bit to cut background noise out. Okay, so we'll go ahead and turn that back up for right now. If I hit the band, you'll see it moves to shortwave. If I hit it again, it's long wave, which is 100 to 500, and then midwave being the terrestrial band. So that's one way to select all that. So we're going to go here. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and turn it up, and we'll see what we can find on shortwave. It's also nice if you look over here, it actually tells you, okay, we're on 120 meter shortwave. When you move off of that, you're usually rolling into ham bands.
Un cunoscător al evoluțiilor în spațiul geopolitic care a avut ca...
And here is a shortwave. We're on 31 meter, 9.729. You can see it's a really strong signal. Noise blanker.
Noi am fost martorii unui eveniment foarte rar în istoria universală, acela al prăbușirii unei mari entități statale.
You can mess with RF gain.
A imperiului.
And if the signal's drifting.
Și interior și exterior, pentru că în politologia contemporană se face.
Right, so pretty interesting stuff. I really like it. It seems to have a very sensitive receive.
Que se basa e implementa en la Ley de Responsabilidad de Derechos Humanos Global.
Such cool stuff you can always find on shortwave. Let's roll it down and we'll try some ham band stuff. Let's see if we can pick up anything on sideband. Some kind of signal coming through there. Having a hard time making that one out, but some chatter on sideband there. Let's see if we can find a better signal.
Faceți mai nimic sau foarte multe despre cuciuri din noi.
Suit notre guide d'aujourd'hui continue la visite du musée du rock.
Modificarea nu presupune deci un lucru care ostifică ceva.
Montre quelque chose dans un musée, ça apoyó para que los manuales de sexo. Perucho Figueredo y Aguilera participaron, pero no dieron una, mientras que Juan Hall
Very busy in this section.
ni siquiera abrió la boca. Carlos Manuel pidió entonces una feriados importantes para que seus
Of course, correlate with your bad record. Man, always something tight for this time of the year. Oh, I tell you. Well, all right there, partner. Thanks for the update. Grab the good went down on both of them. Folks like yourself.
There we go.
Anyhow, yeah, back over to you there, Mr. Ray. It's good to hear you, and you're sounding great. Let's see, yeah, Jim, Q&I came in our...
And if you wanted to, if I wanted to save this channel program, you can see the program channel light is on there. I enter in a number, and there it is.
Yeah. Bendita eres entre todas las...
All right, if I wanted to directly enter a channel in,
Siempre.
Frequently referred to by ministers
just typing it in, right?
or Mr. Multi.
Que han quedado aquí en el medio de la tormenta del COVID.
Well, Satan come on the scene. Satan said you're not going back. You're going to become as God. You're going in all of England.
Pretty cool.
And that data shows that as of last Thursday, just 44%
Uh-oh.
of the patients.
Better turn that one off, boy. I tell you what, you ain't getting banned faster than that on YouTube. Well, I guess I'm going to leave it at that. Guys and gals, this is Eric, and this is the Radio Shack DX394. Would I recommend somebody go out and rush out to buy one of these? Yeah, actually I do. In fact, I'm going to be making a video on a couple of radios that everyone should own. And while it may not be this exact radio, I do believe a good quality shortwave radio should be in everyone's pile of goodies. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you have any questions about the Radio Shack general coverage communications receiver or any of the DX line, because I have a couple of them, I have a few of these things now, let me know, and I'll be happy to try to make a video or just try to explain it to you in the comments section below. Take care, my friends.